Export sales are one thing, export inspections, much different. That is actually grain that has been inspected for leaving the country to being shipped. And we had that export sales or the export inspection numbers out this morning. Let's see what they said. Corn, 797,487 metric ton there. Sorghum, 83,000, down from 124,000 last week. Soybeans were just slightly higher, 472,680 last week. 454,719, and the wheat was a little bit of an increase as well. 544,000 and some change compared to 512,305 last week. Now on to the corn market. Here we go. And right now we're down 1 1/4 cents on the first 1, 2, 3 contracts. That front month of September trading at 325 even. Soybeans is where we go next, and right now we've got the August up 2 pennies at 906 3/4. The new crop November's up 1 1/4 at $9.50. But the big downside today is over in the wheat market, with Chicago wheat on the nearby down 9 3/4 cents at 529 3/4. September Kansas City wheat down 10 1/4. It's at 439 1/4. Minneapolis wheat is down 6 1/2 at 508 3/4. And the cotton market rallied earlier in the day, then fell back, now is rallying again. December up 114 at 61.24. Well, let's say hello to Todd Horwitz. He's with Bubba Trading, and he's here with us. Todd, I always read your comments every morning, and this morning you had written a little bit about these grains, and you said that there could be some big news coming. What is going on in these markets that kind of gives you that idea or that feel?
Well, John, I think when you look at the overall, look at equities, they continue to explode higher. Look at the metals, they continue to explode higher. That's telling us that there's a news item going to come out. And of course, if you look at the grain markets, they might as well not be open today. Yes, they're down a little bit in wheat, especially wheat, but there's zero volume. Right now, as of now, we're at about 10% of the normal daily volume. That is not normal. So what that's telling me that there's news coming at some point, and that should trigger some movement in all markets, and we'll finally kind of get to the bottom of what's going on here. But you've seen some of the craziest trade you've seen in years right now. So I think that is the message. And it's most likely the Fed. It's probably got to do with central banks. Look at the dollar getting hammered.
Yeah, the dollar. I want to focus on that here for just a moment. Is there a low that you're looking for here that this dollar could be headed toward? Because I know you and I have had that conversation many times on this program.
Well, I think the dollar's probably looking to head towards 90. I would not be surprised to see the 88 lows that we had before we went back up to par. When we started looking for a par and we were at 88, now I think we may be looking to go retest that level. Look, you can see that the Fed is going to have to do something with money, and they're going to have to try to cheapen the dollar. So that just looks like we're going significantly lower.
Okay. What are your thoughts on our crude oil market here today as well? Does it fall in that same category of just light volume and inexplicable movements here?
Well, I mean, crude is crude. And again, listen, demand is way down. I think we're slightly overpriced here to begin with. As you know, I've been watching the 41, 42 level as a basis to sell it. And I don't think that's going to change. I think that we're going to see lower prices. As I say, demand's going to keep falling anyways for a while. We're not getting totally up and running again. So you put that in consideration with everything else, and I think you see lower prices in crude from here. But again, I don't know if we'll go down quickly because we're really in a very tight band of range trading. And I think at some point it will make a big move, and I think that next big move will be lower.
Todd, you mentioned things not completely open yet. I want to talk to you about that when it comes to what's going on in the meat complex. So we'll do that next. Stay here with us. We'll have more with Todd Horwitz at Bubba Trading right after this. And we're going to invite Todd Horwitz come back here in just a moment to talk about this livestock market. But first, our bar chart numbers for you here. The live cattle market has kind of waned here just a little bit. August down 17 now at 101.15 after being stronger earlier. October's down 42, December's down 37. The only contract we have higher is that far out April 2021. It's up 12 pennies. So that weakness really came back over here and set in, and it did on the feeder cattle market too. Earlier in the day, we were $1.50 to $1 higher at one point, but now that has waned. Now we're $1.17 lower at 140.87. September down 112 at 141.62. So yeah, the weakness came back over here to the cattle market. And we're still mixed for the hogs. August up 60, October is up 80, but the December hogs are down 30 at 51.62. This cattle market, Todd, it really softened and really waned here. What's behind that?
I can't believe it, John. As I've been on the phone here, it was up when I came on to do the segment, and now we're lower. Now again, I think that we had already pre-priced in the neutral to bullish report we had on Friday. I think that this is more about the price action, but it's also about the same thing as the other ag markets. There's nothing to do. There's absolutely zero volume going on right now in the trading. So without that, these markets are going to typically drift lower, especially when equities are charging higher, because the outside money that would normally come in is chasing equities up right now. So again, I think it's fine. Come down to some support levels. Cattle still looks great, and I think hogs look like they're getting ready to turn the corner and start to move higher as well. So overall, I love the meats, and I think they're going to go higher from here. But again, I'm never surprised by some sell-offs or some pullbacks in the markets that have rallied quite a bit anyways. Just got to watch the support levels, and I think we'll be off to the races.
You know, you mentioned the hogs. At one time, that chart action looked like it was certainly positive. Looks like it... And you mentioned that you think this is still an opportunity here?
Yeah, I think we're getting to a point where it's going to actually break out from that doldrum low-end range that we've been in for quite a while, and then start to move higher. If you look at the formation going forward, it's very unusual to see December higher than October. Last I looked, that's the way it was. So I think we're going to start to see some of these movements, and I think we'll start to see some positive news and positive data, and I think we'll get some buyers to come back in here as well. So I think it'll all work out pretty well at these lower prices.
Okay, Todd, great job. Thank you very much. All the best to you. We'll talk to you again soon. And there is the latest. Christina, back to you, ma'am.